This card is obviously meant to be very favored into his lineup. Like, he's rocking double mid-range. We're using just like, kind of like burn over the top aggro. This card is a little unreliable though, which can be, potentially nasty. It does have the ability to have some bad draws. It's a kind of like a high roll deck. It's a deck that I'm personally much more comfortable on, because the way you play this deck is just mostly around your own draws. It's kind of interesting. I actually don't like keeping House Spider in this deck. It might be a little bit troll not to though. Jury Rig in the opening hand leads to kind of like the most blowouts. I think I like actually keeping Jury Rig because it hits like Zonite and Poro Cannon. But I can see an argument being like a little too risky. It's like, you do need your power plays. On turn 1, he's playing literally nothing. Like, it's Fleet Feather. On turn 2, he could play a Lieutenant, which is, potentially a fearsome blocker. Ooh! I mean, we do want to maximize our damage here, but these are pretty awkward hands. We do need this Jury Rig to probably have been mulliganed away there. Yeah, I mean, the pet has to happen here just because, well, it's either Protector or Lieutenant. I mean, we're getting the same value either way. Like, he has no good trick here. It's pretty awkward. We need, like, if we had literally one Poro Cannon, I think we'd be able to clean up this up. This deck is built to beat Ashnox, so he has some challengers here, which might be able to deal with, like, buffed units. But Ashnox certainly has a really hard time there. That seems good. Okay, we're gonna need a bailout here. Ooh, that's not the bailout. Wow, bottom draw hand. Well, as mentioned, this happens with discard sometimes. Sometimes that's just how it be. We've got a shit ton of like 1-drops and 2-drops. The problem is like with keeping House Spider is it usually doesn't represent wins in game states like this anyway. Like, you're basically just looking to hit combo pieces. I guess I'm literally forced into Juryman's Bond here. There's a consideration to actually just go for the 6 damage here by discarding Chompers. I mean, I can actually go for 7 damage here, puts him in 12 range for Pharaon. I think there's really nothing else to do here, especially because the bird might trick out on one of my units anyway. I think I have to get the damage in while his board is low, and then just try to like chump him out later. Sounds right to me. So he could hush the Scrap Scuddler to prevent damage. So I want to use this here. So this puts him to 10, which just kind of like puts him as close to Pharaon range as possible. And now I just kind of have to rely on waiting a lot and chumping him down for the Pharaon. So pretty awkward. We have like a super terrible hands. And honestly, I mean, his deck puts out a decent amount of pressure. I don't know if we can get to the Pharaon turn fast enough. Poro Cannon's an alright draw here. I mean, we needed this earlier. We would be very cozy with our odds of winning the game if we had this earlier, but better late than never, you know? And his board is actually less wide than ours, so we actually do have the ability to just chill here. I mean, we're never doing anything to this combat. I'm always just gonna Poro Cannon post-combat here. I think I do have to develop them. Single combat is something he could have, but that's about it. There's really no like fancy play here. Just saves out on actions. We're actually getting a little bit of extra chip damage here, which is pretty funny. The only downside with like full attacking is we're kind of like racing ourselves in a way. Like, excuse me? He's just giving up. Because there's never a play that makes sense, obviously. I guess he's just trolling. That's a 4. It sounds like he's making a statement about his hand. Seems likely. Yeah, I mean, I should just go for the Poros. I mean, I can't really give him value on the tricks here, right? He could kill both of the Poros. I have to, like, there's no way he can't keep the Shyvana alive here. Like, he will have a way to stop me if I try to Brothers Bond this. And forcing him into using it is useless. Because the whole point of an aggro deck is we're supposed to devalue cards that he could keep in hands that would represent ways to keep his units alive. We don't care about his units, right? That's the whole point of aggro. if like in a situation where like forcing something out is fine, because if he had it, it would have had to get value later anyway, then, you know, we buff the Draven, but there's not our game plan here. So this Hush saves him 2 health. That's definitely a pretty desperate Hush. That's pretty funny. I mean, his hand was bad too. It looks like we both drew absolutely horrendous hands. I think he probably had to try banking more mana, honestly. I think the fact that he never banked spell mana on any street felt like it limited him a little too much. Maybe he didn't have a choice but to like stop a certain amount of aggression. Well, okay, so Shyvana is leveling up here. And with her level up, I mean, she does gain the strike. She can kill the other Poro. But she can't heal off of it. Which is pretty funny. My face. It's kind of fascinating. I mean, do I have to assume that my face matters? I think I actually have to, because he can't kill me through Faron anyway, right? I think it bizarrely enough, it opens me up to an incredible lose condition if I don't block this Shyvana. Does it? I can always block later anyway. What the fuck am I talking about? It's Demacia. He doesn't run any win conditions. We're fine. I mean, I guess Faron pre-combat makes more sense. Ah, there's like Hush combo hands where it deals less damage. It feels like, I mean, isn't that like a bizarre lose condition? If I open attack, lose all my chumpers, like he stays alive, like I only need to deal 1 damage, right? And then he could like challenge me with a cheap thing and smack me for 8. Like, and if I play Faron, he can Hush block my Faron, plus like his developed unit. And we have to put him on Hush. This is sort of fascinating. Like, the way to maximize the odds here is actually super weird. I mean, I'm never using Crowd Favorite, so I guess I always have Axe for that. I guess open attacking here feels like the safest play to maximize my odds. Like I said, it's actually like, I know it looks like a 1 game, but it's actually like, there's some weird way I lose this. If I just keep my chumps up, is it impossible to lose this? His deck can't win through these spiders. And now, like, you know, I mean, obviously Guiding Touch isn't enough anymore. He could Hush and kill Faron. But Faron doesn't matter, because it's a blocker. Like, I literally solo attack with Faron here. That's kind of funny. I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to be afraid of. He could force, like, 2 actions. That's a little nasty. I actually think I have to pass here. That's so funny. But he's definitely on, like, spell-heavy hands. So he takes the strike there. So we don't need to kill him in 1 action off the Decimate. We have Inevitability. We have both actions. Yeah, I think I actually did mess up by not blocking with a Scuddler before. Hilariously enough. Like, it actually opens you up to a super weird way to lose. Right? That's so funny. Like, if his card is single combat and he's got a creature and, like, there's some pressure here from the Crowd Favorite, then it's like, yeah, it's kind of losable. Which is, again, hilarious. So I know it looks like we're roping here over a 1 game, but, like, you have to understand his hand range is actually, like, it's not the least losable thing ever. Obviously, drawing House Spider, I think, gives us, like, the win for sure. But you have to, like, you have to make sure you never feel like you've won and your plays don't matter anymore. Never fall into that trap. Especially because his hand was literally all spells. I think the fact that he reposted was just kind of a way of... I mean, I think he basically just tried giving up the game. And then he realized that with a bunch of single combat hands and with a Shyvana that I can't really answer, it's not impossible for him to win. I mean, he doesn't have any overwhelm. Okay. Okay. I mean, there's no pursuit or anything. Pursuit wouldn't quite save him here, but like obviously it kind of almost does. This was a really hilarious game. What the fuck? Our opening hands. Jesus Christ. This was like, yeah, this was like the stupidest game ever. What did we learn from that game? What the fuck?